So again, my goal here is to walk through an overview of the platform and then a demo of the platform as you might do it for your customer. Okay, so first slide here, just talk about the company, just give the customer a sense for how long the platform Seceon's been around, customers and so forth. So we have been around for almost 9 years now. Lots of partners, lots of customers. These numbers grow daily. I think this slide is a little bit old. I think we've got more partners and customers than this now. We're worldwide. We've got offices all over the world, team members all over the world. And the last point here is very important to me. The 450 billion plus events per day that we collect across all of our customer base. The message there is we want to see everything in a customer's environment. We believe the only way you're truly going to protect them is if you're seeing everything and you can get enough early warning that something might be going on that's malicious. So you'll hear from the competition how they collect 20 million, 50 million events per day. That's not enough, right? And what they're trying to tell you is, we're limiting the amount of information we're collecting because maybe we're charging by events per second, and therefore, the more we collect, the more you're going to have to pay. We don't want to limit that. We want to see everything. Just a couple quick points on this slide. First of all, the platform is called AI SIM. We have SIM functionality, which is very important in these times for compliance, for cyber insurance. So we make SIM easy. We'll collect all your logs. We'll store them away for as long as you need, give you the ability to retrieve them while still protecting the chain of custody. So that's an important part of the platform, but it's much more than that. You see on the left here in this flower configuration, we are trying to deliver as much functionality as possible in a single platform, right? So we're giving you, if you needed EDR, if you needed IDS, if you needed MDR, you needed multi-tenancy. So we're trying to put everything in a single platform so that you can go to one place, one user interface, one license. And most importantly, by doing that, all the information that's coming into a single platform can be correlated in that platform. It doesn't have to be done across multiple people, multiple platforms, multiple shift changes. Okay, so the next box here is important as well. We have machine learning, we have artificial intelligence. Those are way overused terms these days. Everybody claims it. I just want to explain quickly what it means in our platform. So because we're collecting all that information, what we then do is we take it and we parse it out on a per host basis, and we start to build a behavioral model, okay, a baseline for every host in your environment to say, this is what's typical for this host. It logs in at this time from these locations, from this location, talks to these servers, copies files of this size, and so forth. That lets us then start to look for anomalies, okay? Is this thing done something it's never done before? Has it gone to a blacklisted site? Has it done a scan? Has it gone to a new server? So that's the machine learning is building those models and then starting to track all those malicious activities and store them as threat indicators. What AI means in our environment is we've built a software engine that looks at all that information like an analyst would. So instead of you having to have an army of analysts or your customer having an army of analysts, the platform is doing that for you. It's an incredible time saving, it's incredible cost savings. And that AI analyst, if you will, is looking at every anomalous behavior, every failed login, every blacklisted site access, every new server access, and comparing that against built-in threat models. You don't have to go build all these threat models and policies. The platform has those on PowerUp, it has those built in. So again, the ML and AI are vital pieces of delivering a very cost-effective service. So what that AI analyst does is look for enough malicious activity to build an alert. Once it raises an alert, now the final piece or the final key piece kicks in, which is remediation. Now, along with actually detecting that as quickly as possible, the platform can go show your analyst, your real analyst, everything it's seeing, make a decision, and then let them remediate, which is called manual remediation. If and when you get comfortable enough with the platform, you can turn on what we call auto remediation. You can have the platform automatically go out So the platform detects the alert and then automatically goes and quarantines a host, quarantines a file, blocks access to a blacklisted site and so forth. So that can all be done automatically. And I'll show you all this in the platform. We also have built-in compliance reports and the ability to create your own custom reports. So we'll show you all that as well. Last slide. This is just the same message, but visually, right? So here you're seeing across the top all the things we want to collect. We want to see your DNS, your firewall logs and flows, all your network information, anything from the cloud. We don't distinguish between on-prem and off-prem. We want to see everything. If you have other EDR, we'll collect that telemetry, any identity information. So everything we can get out of your environment, we want to see. We collect it, we bring it in as telemetry, we enrich it, time, location, host name. Then we start to look, as I said, for those anomalies, right? Anything different. You logged in from a different location, you logged in at a different time, you started looking at new servers, you did a scan. Any of those things will be detected as different, potentially malicious, and put into an alert. I'll just mention here quickly, we have 3 levels of alert. This is important: minor, major, critical. If and when you go into the platform, you'll see lots of minor alerts. Those are things that we haven't raised. You don't have to do anything, but we're tracking them, right? So we're saying, we've seen some malicious activity or potential malicious activity on this host, but it's not enough to tell that we think it's actually infected and going to lead to an attack. Again, you'll see a lot of those, but those are things that you don't have to deal with. Once we've seen enough and the platform's seen enough, it's going to raise a major alert. It's going to say, okay, I have over 50% confidence that this host is infected. You need to go take action. So that alert will be raised. An email will be sent. There'll be a visual alerting, and then you can go ahead and take the action. If it gets above 75%, actually it's probably something in progress as we speak. Again, the majors, we've caught it early. We've detected the signs of an attack, but it hasn't actually started yet. It's just still trying to figure out what it's looking for and what it's going to do with it. Once it gets to 75%, the attack is probably in progress. There's things happening that are either exfiltration, encryption. We go to critical and say you need to take action now. On top of all that, we have something called SOAR, Security Orchestration, Administration, and Remediation. I'll show you, we can build playbooks so you can actually, when you get an alert, define exactly what you want to happen. Then lastly, on the output here, 2 things. We have very comprehensive visibility. We've collected all that information. You can go search through it. You can look for anything you want, a type of activity, a type of log source, flows, you can look for anything you want. I'll show you that. I've talked about the detection and remediation. We also have the built-in compliance reporting, which I'll show you. Okay, so that's it for the slides. Let's get into the actual platform itself. Okay, so we start here. This is our MSSP or MTMT screen, where you can actually see you as a partner or maybe a customer with a bunch of different locations. You can see all of your instances in one screen. Obviously, lots of these you can see are green, meaning everything's good. When something is wrong, it's going to look more like this one over here. You're going to see what I mentioned as your minor alerts, right? So we've got, this is over a 7-day period, 17 of those. Again, nothing you need to do, but they're being tracked. That's again the beauty of the platform. It's following all that activity. The blacklisted site access from a week ago, the scan this morning, the new server access this afternoon. That's all being tracked and correlated in software in real time by the platform. You don't have to have people doing that. You don't have to people communicating across shift changes to say, okay, this host looks like it might have something going on. You need to watch for this. The AI analyst in the platform is doing that full time, 24/7, 365. This purple is system alerts. Those are important to note. So those aren't security related, but what those are is telling you that we haven't seen from one of the sources, one of your log sources, one of your flow sources in a specified period of time. We default that to 15 minutes. So if we haven't seen from something in a while, we'll alert you. What's important to note is if the 15-minute window goes up, we raise the system alert. If on the 16th minute we do hear from it, we're going to clear that alert. So you're not going to have, thousands of these, but we're going to just keep you aware that, maybe something hasn't reported on time. Then the last two, the orange and the red, are orange is major, red is critical. And so those are the ones that you have to deal with. Some other stuff at this level. So, we've started to add more and more functionality here so that you can do things and see things across all of your customers. Let's say you as an MSSP, or again, as a customer with maybe multiple locations, you can do things across all your locations. So, you can add new customers easily, but or new locations. Two things in particular I want to highlight is, where am I here? Sorry. So we have, where am I? Oh, here we go. Trusted threat indicators. So these are things that in your environment aren't malicious, but we might have considered malicious. Things like PowerShell scripting, scanning. So certain devices maybe can do scans in your environment that are not malicious. You can create trusted threat indicators. Now I'll show you that once we get into the platform, the particular instance. But you can set them up here, and then they can be applied across all your tenants. Same thing with something called user-defined alerts. I told you we have built-in threat models for every known attack that's out there, but there may be things in your environment that you want to create your own custom alerts. A real simple one is a new tenant created or a new host added. New host added. That's not a malicious activity. It happens all the time, but in some environments, for compliance purposes, they need to report every time a new host is added. So you can go in, you can create your own UDA, user-defined alert, and say, in my environment, okay, I've got an alert every time this happens. I can get a report on that, and then I can use that for my compliance reporting. So that's the high level. Now, again, we can go into any instance. So, and this is where you sort of get the meat and potatoes of the platform. So now I've gone into this particular instance, which is actually our in-house environment. And the first thing I'll do is I'll start down the left side here, just to show you, this is where all of the different capabilities are, configuration, and so forth. The top here, you see all the analytics, and we'll go through all of these. Lots of dashboards. We've got, for any cloud environments, we have dashboards. Container environments, we have dashboards, and then high-level dashboards for an analyst and/or for executives and/or demos. Visualizations, that's where you can go in and you can see just a high-level snapshot of your environment, all the different hosts in your environment, who talks to who, how much data has passed in this last time period. So it's just a nice way to go in and see, what's going on in your environment. It's not necessarily security related. You can overlay alerts, but it's more just visual. Down here, you see the main part of the platform, alerting, right? And we'll go into this in detail. Looking at alerts, analyzing if this looks real, if we want to take action, and so forth. And then threat hunting, I talked about, where you can go in and search for anything. Down here, we've got our remediation and our playbooks. We also have the ability to create custom dashboards and reports, which I'll show you. Here's all of all the reports that are built into the platform. There's probably 20 or so. I'll show you some of those. Your provisioning administration, that's setting up the platform, setting up your remediators, setting up all your new users and who sees what. And then at the very bottom here, which I'll show you quickly, system level information. Here you can get a quick snapshot of all the sources in your environment, all the devices that you're getting information from, when you last heard from them. Here you can see, so I have 86 log sources, 12 flow sources. This is how many are active. You can see, when I last heard from them. So just a quick overview. Let's say you wanted to add in a new log source, or maybe you had a new router you added. You want to get the flows. You get it set up. You come in here and just confirm that you're seeing the information. All right. So now let's go back and start with our dashboards. Start with this. We have an executive dashboard. Very nice visual representation of what we're seeing in your environment. These three dials here on the left are sort of highlighting, one of the key key values of the platform. The top is all the events we've seen in the last 7 days. And by the way, you can change the time frame to whatever you want it to be. So I could say 15 minutes, I could say 180 days. This is showing me all those events in the last 7 days. 1.46 billion things. Sorry about that. Just give us a second to repopulate. 1.45 now billion things we've seen in the last 7 days. This is the number of malicious things that we've seen in the last 7 days, 9.24 million. If you think about that, there is no way you could keep up with that with humans. I mean, 9.26 million pieces of information that we've detected that could be anomalous. A failed login, escalated privilege, new server access, blacklisted site access. All those are in here. What we've done is taken those and correlated them down to 7 alerts that you need to deal with. That's 1 alert per day. Again, that's incredibly manageable, all right? In a real system, that might be 2 or 3 per day, but still 2 or 3 per day. Obviously, a single analyst can handle that. I just want to highlight that. So a lot of those 9.2 million are in those 7, maybe a couple 100,000, maybe 1 million, and I'll show you why. But a lot of those are in those minor alerts I mentioned, right? So again, those are things that we're tracking that you don't need to, right? You don't have to have people worrying about it. The platform is doing it. And so you'll see in minor alerts, there's just lots of different activity that we've seen, but it's not enough to tell us that you have to do anything yet. You also see here, you can see the number of endpoints, the number of remote users, your EPS, lots of good information here as a visual. Another dashboard we have, which is maybe more something along the lines of what an analyst would use. Here you're seeing that same information. This is the same information as that dial, right? So now I got my events, my threat indicators, and my alerts. But you also can see, and you can build your own custom dashboard here, right? You can see top internal hosts by date, top public sites, and so forth. So you can, this is a busy dashboard in my opinion. So you can create your own dashboards, right? I've gone in here, see if I can find it. I've created my own, I called it light. There's too many here now. So I just took that dashboard. Here we go. And I made it a little less busy, right? I thought this was more visually appealing to me. But what's important to note is you can make your own dashboard. Okay, so you can go, you can say, okay, I want to create a new dashboard. I can also create a new report. We'll just do a quick demo of a dashboard. So you can see I get a nice blank template. I can come down here and I can pick out of KPIs. This will populate. So you can see we have a lot of KPIs here, over 1,000. And you can search through them and pick whatever you want. I like that funnel that we just showed. So I select that. It pops in. I can size it however I want. Okay. I can add another one. So you can see this is a very simple process, right? Let's do top 10 threat indicator types. Let's do that one. Okay, so then I can put that. It'll populate in a second. So the point is, you can build your own custom dashboard the way your customer might want to see. That's a very valuable piece of functionality, and we found that many of our partners use that. Okay, so now we have, I mentioned we have cloud dashboards. You might have, your customer might have, or you might have services, Office 365, whatever in the cloud. You might have things in Amazon. We have also Google, we have Oracle. So wherever you might have things that are in the cloud, we have a dashboard here for it. And you can see this is Azure, lots of good information in here. We do have behavior analytics because we collected all this information. We can show you user host information. If I open this up a little bit, I'll probably get some more. Some new hosts detected. I opened it up a lot. I went up to 180 days. So you can see, and it's just, lots of good information about what's going on with all different hosts in your environment. Top 10 hosts with unusual beacon-like activity and so forth. So lots of, again, because we collected all this, we can present it to you. All right, let's go to the meat of the platform now, the alerts. So you come to alert page. First of all, off top here, what you do is you get a nice overview of your different alert categories, right? So this all your majors and criticals. So I've got, I opened that up a lot. So I went to 180 days. Let's go back to 7 days. So I've got, 5 majors, 2 criticals. This is showing me user-defined versus non-user defined. And what I mentioned earlier, the ability to say the specific alerts I want in my environment that we wouldn't have necessarily detected. See, we have some here, open alerts by activity, and so forth. So a nice quick snapshot. I could click on these and drill down if I wanted to. Down below, I get all the open alerts. Okay, so, and you can see there's 7 of them. I could scroll through them. So all 7 are here. Again, you typically would come here as soon as you get an alert, and you'd see one, right? So you get 1 or 2 at most that you would typically then start to react to. I want to show you an alert. So I like to look at these malware infected hosts. So, and some important information here. You get a quick snapshot of every alert. So the time, we give it an ID, what type it is, the severity of it. This is important, the origins, right? So we're showing you what pieces of the platform detected, what. So this is host, right? This might be log activity that we've seen. This is machine learning. So this is where the machine learning engine has detected that, specific anomalous behavior. This is EDR. So we used EDR as part of this alert. So in any alert, all these have all 3, but you'll see some with just host, some with just machine learning, and so forth. High level overview of what the alert's about, and then there's more information off to the right here. So let's drill down into this alert. And here you can see this, again, this is the power of the platform to me right here. First, across the top, all the MITRE techniques that are available. And then we've mapped the ones that we've seen into this alert in red. So you could click on those and you'd see the specifics of execution, the specifics of credential access. But down here, we've got 8 different types of activity that the platform has detected and correlated, okay? So you can see suspicious path, evasion, Windows exploit, suspicious activity, unusual number of connections. So in this particular alert, it was some combination of these things that actually we raised the alert. So down at the bottom here, well, let me go back. So you can actually go into any one of these, and you can see there's, probably a couple thousand different malicious activities or threat indicators that were correlated into this alert by the platform in real time. Okay, so again, no human had to do that. That makes the ability to detect these things so much more effective. Instead of humans having to decide that last week's activity and yesterday's activity and today's activity is all related, the platform did it for you. And so you can just pick any one of these. I can drill down and I can look at, there was 22 of these. I could go look at all 22. You get all the way down to the gory details of that specific threat indicator. And MITRE techniques are mapped into here. You can see these are the techniques that were applied. You see the high level messaging about what this was about and whatever specific details, host, source IP, destination IP, whatever it might be. Let's say it was a scan, it'll show you the addresses that were scanned and so forth. Okay, down at the bottom here, oh, sorry, I got out of it. Come on, sorry, folks. Okay, here you go. You get a very nice graphical representation of the alert. And this is really valuable. You can see here that you see 35% confidence. That means we've seen these activities. We've seen these activities, but it wasn't enough to tell us that you need to do anything yet. And this is actually on a monthly basis. Then you see in this month what we saw. And then all of a sudden you see it goes up, right? So we can drill down now into this and get more specific. So I drill here. Now I can see again, this is on a daily basis. I can see, still we were tracking things, but still we were at 35% confidence. It's right here where we said, okay, we raised it to 55. We've seen enough. So now I can drill down a little deeper, and I can actually see, right at, now we're down to the hour level, right? So I can see that I saw some evasion and suspicious path stuff here. Here I saw some suspicious file activity. And then right here, I saw a DLL exploit, and it's right here. So it's not just this. This isn't just the reason we raised the alert, but this is the final straw that pushed us over the edge, correlated it all together, and now we've raised an alert. You click in there, and now it'll actually show you, should show me so those specific activities, now that we're here, it's going to show me them all down here. Okay. So the messaging here is an analyst can come in, an alert gets raised, an analyst can come in very quickly, see what we saw and why we raised the alert. Okay. And decide, okay, is this real? Is this something I want to do something about or not? If they decided it's real, they come over here and they push remediate. Okay. And so here we can see this one only has EDR. So let's just look at this one quick. It's going to show me what it would do if I actually took a remediation step. It's going to check that the EDR agent is active. It's going to send a command to quarantine the host, so forth. So the platform would then go take the actions if you decided that you wanted to let it do it. I want to actually find an alert with some different activities. So let me do this. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to look for a 0-day. Okay. Just see what I've got here. Give me a second. Here we go. So I also wanted to show you that for remediation, again, the EDR can go take action. Your AD can go quarantine a host. You can also push rules to firewalls. So here I'm going to show you a couple of different ones. I can select whatever remediation devices are relevant for this alert. Something to highlight here is you see me highlighting multiple firewalls. Well, let's say it was a blacklisted site access and a ransomware attack, and I want to block access to its command and control site. I can go in and select that particular firewall. But if, let's say, I have multiple locations, let's say I'm a bank with lots of remote locations, instead of just blocking the IP on one particular branch that had the attack, why wouldn't I want to go to all of the firewalls simultaneously and block that IP so that none of them, if this happened in another site, they could all, stop the access. So you can do that in here. You can select as many devices as you want. And I just want to show you. So now it's showing you what it's going to do, right? What it's going to do is it's going to say, for this is for Sonic Wall, I'm going to push this policy out to the firewall, right? So you can see it's looking for the IP address. It's going to send out the message to block it. They all have different nomenclature, right? So here's FortiGate. Here's what it would push to FortiGate, a FortiGate firewall to do the same thing. Here's what it would push to Palo to do the same thing. So the important thing to note here is we built in the integration with all of these different firewall vendors. So you don't have to worry about that. We know the nomenclature. We know how to actually go push a rule to that to block this access, for instance, or all the different ADs. We know how to go out and shut down that account. So that's all built into the platform. And again, an analyst can come here, push update, and those actions will be taken. I also want to show you auto remediation. So once you've gotten comfortable with the platform, and you said, okay, I don't want to have to wait anymore. Every time I've seen a compromised credential, it's been real. I don't want to wait. All right, so you can come in here. You can say, okay, I want to do create auto remediation for a specific alert type. You can turn it on for everything, but that isn't typical behavior. You would probably turn it on as you got comfortable with specific types of alerts. So I can come in here and I say, okay, here I've seen compromised credentials. I'm comfortable. I want to select, I'm going to do both major and critical. I want to select my remediators. So just select a couple of them, whatever here. If there's endpoint action, I want to select that. I want to select these. And then lastly, but importantly, I can select when I want to do this. I don't have to just turn it on all the time. I might have people monitoring the system during the day, but after hours, I don't. So I want to say, okay, you know, Monday to Tuesday, I want to do it from 8. Again, I'm not an expert at this, but I want to do it from 8 to 5 in the morning, or 5 at night to 8 in the morning, whatever. You can set the specific time. You can set the specific days. You can just do it on a weekend. So you can go in, create your own rules for which type of auto remediation you want to do, turn it on, and away you go. From now on, that type of alert will actually get auto remediated. I apologize, unless someone wants to chime in here. I don't see the SOAR playbook functionality right now, so I'm not going to be able to show that. Another thing I want to show is EDR. So I mentioned we want to collect all your telemetry. If you have a CrowdStrike, a SentinelOne, Cylance, we will collect that telemetry and use it. If you don't, we have our own EDR, right? And we have a dashboard that'll show you what we've collected. We can show you all the different hosts that we've collected, and I'll just select mine here. So we can show you, this is my laptop. We can go in and look at the details on my laptop. So you can see, what type it is, how many cores, blah, 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 when I last checked in and so forth. I think there's actually some work going on here. So, but you can see recent activity, you can see status logs. So typically these would populate. Another thing I want to show you, which is related to this, is threat hunting. I mentioned the fact that I can go in and I can search for any activity I want, right? So I can say, let me close this window down a little bit, back to 7 days. I want to search for an event type, right? So I want to search for, and you can see here, there's a list of all the activities that the platform has seen, right? So you can search for any of these. I'll just do a blacklisted site access just because that's easy. And so now it's showing me in the last 7 days, here's all the blacklisted site accesses that we're seeing. Okay. We've also been adding
So,
new function.
Tom, you should see remediation and all that stuff right there. Below that, SOAR and BI, right? Auto remediation.
Yep, I was looking for SOAR. I showed auto remediation.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay, so back to threat hunting. So if I come in here, do a sorry, just give me a second here. So add a query, add a query. Apologize, I'm missing up here. There's so much here. Sometimes even I get confused. I apologize. All right. Yeah, I'm basically just showing you. I searched before I showed you a type of activity. Here I can do a different type of source. So let's say I want to look for Azure information. So again, I can search for anything. IP address, a host name, a source type. So here's all my Azure Office 365. I could also do, there's probably some firewall activity in here. I can look for Fortinet activity. So whatever you want to search for, it's here. You can then go look on a specific date and drill down into the actual specific activity. Down here below, you'll see all of the activity related to that search. Okay. Here we have, next section I want to talk about is reporting. So here we have all kinds of reports, okay? I showed you earlier, you can create your own custom dashboard. You can do the same thing with a report, but these are all built in. Okay, so we have security posture. And let me close this window a little bit. I've got it. Let's make this roughly a month. Okay, so now I'm seeing security related activity, how many critical alerts, how many major alerts, severity alerts, severity scores, trending, 30-day trends. You can see here, where the alerts came from, which countries, users with alerts. So again, a ton of information here that is very valuable to be sent, let's say on a monthly basis to your customer, to your management, if you are the customer, so that just they can see what they're getting for what they paid. Compliance reporting is very important. HIPAA, PCI, NIST, these are obviously built in and created. I'll just open one up here quickly. You can see we've taken the relevant pieces of every standard, and we've populated the live data for that standard. So this is logging attempts and reporting discrepancies. So here's all the activities. And so forth. So you can see we populated all the different sections. Same thing for NIST, same thing for PCI. We are adding CMMC and other compliance reports, but you can build your own based on a specific need that you have. Lots of operational reports. Okay, I'm not going to go through all these. Because we've collected all the information about your environment, you can see bandwidth trends, flow trends, stop sources, with bandwidth usage, applications with bandwidth usage. So again, all this information is at your fingertips because we've collected it all and we're tracking it all. Another one I like to show is inventory report. So you can come in here and you can see all the devices that are being monitored in your environment. We define critical as firewalls, routers, switches, servers, and then non-criticals are hosts, are your endpoints. And you can go in and see how many of each. You can actually get details. These are all criticals, meaning they're running these services. I could say I just want to see non-critical. And again, that's going to show me my endpoints. So you can see I have 43 of those. I could scroll through each one of those. So lots of reports. Okay, let's come down here to provisioning and administration. This is all, sort of how you set up the platform. And one interesting thing I want to show you here is add-on devices. So you can come in here. Come on. I apologize, folks. We're having some slowness this morning. What this should do is show me. Come on, cancel that. Okay, it looks like for some reason this isn't populated this morning, but this would show me all the different applications that we've already done integrations with. You can add Salesforce.com and Zscaler and whatever. So you would come in here and they would all populate here. You could see them by logo, and you could select them. And you go click on it, and it would show you exactly what you need to configure that and add that, so you can start to collect that telemetry. Okay, so that's an important part. I mentioned
you have to go into the administration. From the administration, you have to do that. Okay, go into the administration, add on store.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Well, I'm not sure, Chandra.
Yeah, so that's what it is. That's where you want to do it.
Yeah, it's still not populating.
Yeah, I think that's
But I
references you should kind of do that.
there you go. Thanks, Chandra. So again, here you can see I can go in, I can select any one of these pieces of functionality if I want to add them. The Amazon here, I can scroll down and there's maybe. I can scroll down and I can add anything here. There's just a ton of stuff. Barracuda, Bitdefender, Checkpoint, Cisco AMP, you know, so just pretty much anything you would need would show up here. And if there is something you don't need, I mean, it's something you need that we don't have, we actually can go off and create a parser and or an integration for that. So we do that on a regular basis for new things that need to be added. Okay, so let me go back now. I wanted to mention, go back to my provisioning. We talked about these TTIs, Trusted Threat Indicators, User-Defined Alerts. These are really important. TTIs are, so once you deploy, what you're going to find is after, you know, a handful of days, you're going to start to see some alerts that you might think, hey, these don't look right in my environment. This device can do this activity, right? So what you do is you come in here and you create what we call that Trusted Threat Indicator. Okay, so you say, okay, I want to create one for a scan. You know, there was a scan going on in my environment. Boy, am I screwing up today, guys. Let's just pick admin login failure. Okay, you come in here, give it some notes, and you slowly come through here and you configure exactly what you want for this trusted threat indicator, right? So source entity, destination for, let's say for a scan, it might be a particular host. So I want to put a particular IP address here. I can say if it scans this device, that's okay. Or I can say if it scans any device. So again, you come through, you configure it. You can say the maybe the port, you can say particular user, everything that's necessary. You come in here, you configure it. And then when you're done, it'll actually show you an overview. Again, I haven't created anything here. An overview of everything you've done, and then you save it and away you go. So now you've created a trusted threat indicator. For instance, as I said, to say this host is allowed to scan. So don't use that as a threat indicator. So from now on, I don't want to get false positives saying this device was doing scanning. The other side of that is user-defined alerts. So again, these were the things I mentioned where in your environment, you might actually say, I want to get an alert on this specific activity. You know, I might have a server that's you know got vital information, and I want to know anytime anybody accesses it. Okay, so you go in, you can create an alert for that. I'll just show you one that's been created here. So this is for, I think I mentioned anytime a new account is created, you come in here. They wanted to do this when it was a major, so get it as quickly as possible. Okay, so the time window, the specifics, you know, the actual query. So you can see everything is typed in here. If I scroll through to the end, I'm going to see the overview. So those are UDAs, TTIs. There's a lot of activity, you know, that when you come into the platform, you know, you can add tenants, so you can add users. Here I can just add a user. I have to set up my remediator. So we talked about remediation, which is very important. You have to go in and you have to set up, okay, if I want EDR, if I want this particular firewall, you have to go into that firewall and give it the credentials for that firewall. Then it can go take the action. So, you know, this is where you come in and you do all of your configuration, your provisioning, and so forth. All right. So lastly, I already mentioned this, but this is where you can come in and see what's going on with the connectivity. You can see, okay, all my different sources, logs, flows, how many of each. Make sure that I'm seeing everything I want to see. You can see across the entire environment how many logs I've gotten, flows I've gotten over the last whatever period we're in here, 7 days, I believe. It's actually just over the last day. So, okay, so to bring it home, again, the messaging here is the platform, everything I've shown you here, with the exception of auto remediation, the platform is doing in real time. It's constantly collecting, constantly monitoring, and then constantly alerting whenever it sees something where you need to take action. So very effective for being able to provide security services to yourself, to your customer. Very effective in terms of fastest possible detection, fastest possible remediation, and then very cost effective, right? If you're delivering services, you can do it cost effectively because you need many, many fewer analysts, right? The platform's doing most of the work. You need a handful of analysts, and you probably don't need as experienced analysts. They don't have to understand what the different types of activity in a ransomware attack are. The platform knows that. It's looking for those activities, and it's telling you when it's seen them. So again, in the end, this is a platform that can help you deliver very cost-effective and very efficient services to your customers. All right, I've used up most of an hour here. I want to thank you for your time. I guess at this point, we'll say any questions, any comments anybody has.
I think number of questions that were there, few questions I answered, so I think you're good to go.
All right, well then, thank you. And Smit, I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Tom. Thank you, Chandra, and thank you, everybody.